You see it in your web browser literally every single day, but what is the real difference between HTTP and HTTPS? Let's get into it and figure out why one tiny little letter is basically your first line of defense online.
So, have you ever really thought about that little lock icon you see next to a web address? Or that extra S in HTTPS? What does it actually mean? Well, it turns out that one little letter makes a huge difference. We're going to explore exactly how it keeps you safe.
All right, so first up, let's talk about the original. We kind of have to understand the old way to see why we needed a big upgrade. So, what is HTTP anyway?
Okay, so the full name is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Yeah, it's a mouthful. Just think of it like this. It was the original language of the internet. It's the fundamental way your browser, Chrome or Safari, chats with a website server.
But, and this is a big but, here's the massive flaw. HTTP sends everything in plain, readable text. The absolute best way to picture this is like sending a postcard through the mail. Seriously. Anyone who gets their hands on it along the way can read every single word. There is zero privacy.
And that right there, that's the heart of the problem. No encryption. Since all the data is just plain text, it means any hacker who manages to sneak a peek at that connection can see everything. And I mean everything. From what you're reading to, and this is the scary part, the sensitive info you're typing in.
Okay, so if HTTP is like a totally open postcard for the world to see, how do you send a private letter online? Well, that's exactly where HTTPS comes in. And instead of a postcard, think of this one as a super secure, locked tunnel.
So HTTPS, it's pretty simple. It just stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure. And that S, that's the magic word. It's the whole point. It means your connection is locked down and protected.
So how does this whole secure tunnel thing actually work? Well, it uses something called encryption. Basically, it takes all your data and just scrambles it. It turns it into this complex, unreadable code. So even if a bad guy does manage to intercept your information, all they're going to see is a bunch of gibberish. Totally useless to them.
Right. So from now on, whenever you see HTTPS and that little lock icon, you can feel confident that your connection is secure. It's really the difference between sending that open postcard and putting your private letter inside a locked briefcase. No contest, right?
Okay, I get it. One is secure, one isn't. Big deal, right? Well, yeah, it's a huge deal. So what does this actually mean for you, day to day when you're just browsing the web? Let's get into the real-world impact.
Honestly, the difference is like night and day. On one hand, you've got HTTP, no encryption, you're totally exposed. On the other, you have HTTPS, where your connection is all scrambled and secure. But there's another super important piece here. HTTPS also verifies that you're actually talking to the real website and not some clever fake one. It does this with a special digital certificate that's kind of like an official ID, proving the site is legit.
And look, we're not talking about small stuff here. This is your most sensitive information. HTTPS is what stands between a thief and your online banking details or your credit card number. It's what keeps your passwords and login info safe for all your accounts. And yeah, it shields all your personal info, your address, your phone number, from getting into the wrong hands.
All right, so now you know the what and the why. So let's talk about the how. How can you make sure you're staying safe? Here's a super simple checklist you can use literally every time you go online.
It really just boils down to 3 simple habits. First thing, always look for that little lock icon in your browser's address bar. It's your best friend. Second, please never, ever enter sensitive info. I'm talking passwords, credit cards, anything personal, on a site that only uses HTTP. Just don't do it. And third, just take half a second to double-check that the web address starts with HTTPS. That quick glance can save you a world of pain.
So what's the bottom line here? Just remember this. HTTP basically leaves the front door to your digital life wide open. HTTPS locks it, deadbolts it, and keeps you protected. It's such a simple but powerful idea to keep in mind every single time you're online. Because believe me, that small s is your big shield online.